Alright. Okay. I don't.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And first off, thanks for doing this, because I understand this is day 2 of your endorsement process. And I'm sure you're all doing this on a volunteer basis, and I know it's really time consuming, so thank you for what sound from the previous ones like very thoughtful question and answer and interviews. So my name's Dean Preston. I'm running for District 5 Supervisor. My first time running for political office. I have lived in District 5 for over 20 years. Live here with my wife and 2 young kids who both go to school in the district, one at a public elementary school and the other in preschool. My background is in affordable housing and tenant rights advocacy. I have been for the last 16 years fighting against displacement, to protect rent-controlled housing, to improve housing conditions, and to try to create more affordable housing opportunities, particularly when developers build new housing, making sure as much as possible it is affordable housing. I run Tenants Together, which is a statewide tenant rights organization that I've run for the last 8 years, that I founded in 2008. That was also the year where the big real estate speculators across California united and dumped $10 million into trying to abolish rent control statewide, and we had really the most significant and important housing fight in many decades in 2008, and I was the leader of the steering committee to kill that ballot measure, which we did, and saved rent control through that process, and then from that emerged our statewide tenant rights organization. I had chosen to run for political office not because it's a lifelong ambition to be a politician, but because I'm absolutely fed up with what's happening at City Hall. I think the mayor, I think President Breed, a number of the other supervisors have utterly failed the community. I think to say we are on the wrong track would be an understatement of the decade. Just the other day, I chatted with a hopefully future constituent, but a resident over in The Hague, whose rent was going from $3,200 a month to $8,000 a month. I'm sorry, that's not a rent increase notice, that's an eviction notice, and it's no mystery why we are losing all of our school teachers, all of our cab drivers, basically the working class from this city, and why the only people who can afford to move to this city are effectively millionaires and billionaires at this point. If you raise these questions at City Hall, you're given a long line of excuses as to why these problems cannot be solved. Very few folks who are willing to stand up to the real estate industry, and I believe that fundamentally the problems facing our city are problems of unaffordability and problems of treating housing in the city as if it is simply a commodity to be profited off of without limits, and that we absolutely need to reframe our approach and stand up to the real estate industry that is having a field day, faces no crisis. They will talk about an affordable housing crisis. They are facing no crisis at all. They're making a killing, and the folks who are suffering are the people who live in San Francisco or the folks who are trying to move here. That is true across the board, whether it's recent folks who have moved here and are paying 60-70% of their decent incomes so that landlords can get even richer, or folks who have been here long-term and are facing threats of displacement. So I invite you all, votedean.com. I've talked about housing, so obviously many other issues. In particular, I want to flag public transportation. It's a very big issue for me. I've been an everyday Muni rider for the last 23 years. I'm also originally born and raised in New York City, and although New York has many problems, its transit system is absolutely fantastic, and I believe that San Francisco needs to truly become a transit-first city with a world-class transportation system, and that requires some bigger thinking that we've had. It's not simply a matter of decreasing wait times by a few seconds. It's about getting serious about how we get from point A to point B in a half hour or less anywhere in this relatively small city. Just one last thing in terms of endorsements, endorsed by San Francisco Tenants Union, the Sierra Club, California Nurses Association, Harvey Milk Club, and just this week the Latino Democratic Club as well. Some of the individuals, Tom Amiano, Matt Gonzalez, John Avalos, David Campos, and many others also listed on our website. So we're running a Grassroots campaign, it's a head-to-head, one-on-one campaign, which hopefully will simplify things for D5 voters. In the past, we've had 10, 20 candidates on the ballot, not this time. And we've had over 50 community meetings. We have over 200 volunteers very actively involved and have raised over $190,000 and are poised to run a very competitive progressive campaign in November.